Hey there, it's April. Welcome back. It's day 37 in my 100-day Trusting God experiment. And I can't wait to share with you what's come up for me in the last 24 hours. I've been spending a couple of hours every morning in prayer and worship and just seeking God to help me to successfully navigate a major shift in my life, in my relationships, in my work, my business, every area of my life, really. And it has been a deeply spiritual journey and eye-opening, which I'm so grateful and humbled for. Today I had an intercessory prayer. I experienced that. It's not something I've experienced before, and I wanted to share what happened. It was pretty profound. So an intercessory prayer, let me share with you what this means. It has to do with an act of interceding, prayer, petition, or entreaty in favor of another. So I had this session today. I didn't know what to expect. And it was led by another person who's got a background that is has a close personal relationship with the Lord, and also has a background in a profession along that area. So we began the session with a prayer, and from there, I just had this incredible experience and encounter with the Lord. He definitely showed up during the session. I could feel His love and His presence, and He revealed many things to me that kind of came up during the session that I wasn't surprised by some of the things that came up, but there were other things. And I asked for His guidance to reveal some things to me, especially something from the past that could have linked up some fear or some sort of a wound or a limiting belief. And I was guided back to a particular incident that happened many years ago. I hadn't even really thought about it in a long time. It was around a conversation I had with my dad. I was just a kid, and he was asking me to be better, particularly around trying to learn my multiplication tables. It was around math. And in that moment, I linked up a belief that I'm just not good enough. I'm not good enough. I must not be smart enough if I can't figure this out. And so that was fundamentally, it was a lie. It wasn't true at all. But as a little girl, I linked up a subconscious belief that that's just one of probably many incidences. And it's carried with me throughout my life, but there was also other fear. There were other fears that came through. There was a lot of releasing. And I want to say this about my dad. I love my dad. I have no ill will about my dad at all. I don't blame him for any of this. He was just doing the best he knew at the time, just like all parents are. Since I was so young, I misinterpreted the experience. And that's how I linked up a limiting belief about who I am. Our identity begins to form at a very early age, and it carries over with us throughout into our adult life. So I was surprised that was one of the things that came up, because I thought, well, that's not as traumatic as some other traumas that I experienced even later on in life, like around 16 years old to 25. But in this session, there was a releasing that was taking place. And I'm going to try to explain what this was like. I'm sure that for everyone it's totally different, but I want to share with you what happened for me. So as if I was in, my eyes were closed, and I was in this encounter, a deeply spiritual encounter, and the intercessory person that was with me in the encounter was naming all things that were releasing, and there were, I could feel that literally there were things that I was releasing old fears and old beliefs about myself that were a lie, releasing old lies, releasing old words that were spoken over me, releasing any assumptions that were incorrect, releasing any old trauma from my physical body, and even on a cellular level, releasing, and the way what I saw, as my eyes were closed, it was as if, it's like I just had this vision of my heart opening, and I could see like these little, I don't know if it was like little lightning bolts that were like coming out, kind of like when you shoot off a bottle rocket around the 4th of July. It's like these things were releasing, and they would release out of my heart rapidly, and then they would explode in the air and disintegrate. And I kept seeing it. It was as if these fireworks were going off. And then I noticed that at the crown of my head, like any old limiting beliefs and old fears, like at the top of my head, that these lightning bolts were coming out, or these little electrical currents or something, and it was exploding, and there were many boom, 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 and it wasn't too loud, but I could feel it releasing. I don't even know how to explain. I mean, I wasn't expecting something like that to happen, but that's what it felt like, and what I was visualizing as I was releasing. And what was happening in my body is like I knew that something was happening on a cellular level. I felt slightly different. I noticed that my muscles that were originally tense when I began the session began to release and relax. So I knew something was happening. Something was shifting on like in my physiological body, but also emotional and mental. I feel like I was releasing emotional pain of the past and like trapped old negative emotions. So it felt like there was a real release. And it wasn't extremely profound, but yet I felt different afterwards. I felt lighter. I noticed that I began to breathe deeply, like I normally have shallow breathing, but afterwards I noticed that I was taking deeper cleansing breaths, like a really deep sigh of relief. And I saw Jesus in this encounter standing next to me. And he had on these beautiful white robes. And he was standing on the right side of me. And I felt his overwhelming love for me. And it brought tears to my eyes. And he let me know that he's always with me, that I never have to fear. He's always right beside me. And then I felt this overwhelming, it was like a feeling of love, but also this deep, overwhelming feeling of compassion for me. Like he knows what's happened, and like all the details of my life, and there's this overwhelming feeling of being loved and also compassion from him. I felt a deep sense of peace also, that was just like, it felt like it was just covering me like a warm blanket. And there were moments when I had tears streaming down my face, and I was just relaxing and allowing things to just release. Whatever was going to happen was going to happen, but I was also unattached to the whole experience, that even if I felt nothing or right, I thought it doesn't matter. I'm just going to show up, and just whatever is meant to be will be. That's how I began the whole experience. And I believe that that some things have shifted. And I know that that will manifest in my life, because the Lord showed me this scripture this morning. I wanted to share with you. And it's in Proverbs chapter 27, verse 19. And it says, as water reflects the face, so one's life reflects the heart. Let me read that again. As water reflects the face, so one's life reflects the heart. Y'all, that took me just a few minutes to really, that is so deep. It took me a few minutes just to kind of let that sink in. I mean, it's one of those things that's that deep. And I believe it's very clear that what's showing up in our life is really a reflection of what's in our heart. That's what was happening. It felt like when we have things that we've just got trapped negative emotions that have kind of just been never really dealt with, but it just kind of starts to kind of just get trapped in our physical bodies, and it just kind of lays dormant sometimes, and sometimes it gets triggered. Also, I think old pain that kind of hasn't been fully processed or released, that kind of gets trapped. I think it gets in our muscles and in our tissue. I also believe that when it's not dealt with, we just sweep it under the rug. We're too busy and we keep moving on with our life. One or two things, it doesn't just go away. It metastasizes and it keeps getting worse until we're forced to deal with it. And it can show up as having constantly having chronic accidents that you're in. It can be dis-ease in the body or disease showing up in the body, being sick, a chronic sickness or an illness. It could show up in dysfunctional relationships or disconnected relationships. It can show up as having some area, some pattern in your life, or even in our business where you keep getting stuck. You get to this level and you can't seem to go quite to the next one. All of that stuff, that is our body and our life speaking to us. That's like a big neon sign that says, hey, you got some stuff you got to deal with. You got to heal this. What's in here? And it's just manifesting in our lives. And I want to say this too. I am such a firm believer that we're not meant to marinate in our pain. We're not meant to marinate in the wound and just hang out in that space. That's not what I'm talking about here. I am the kind of person that says I'm ready to deal with it, heal it, and move forward. I'm ready to move on from this and just kind of do what I need to do, and then thank the Lord for my healing and do my part, and then let's move on. Let's turn the wound into a scar where we're aware that something happened, but we no longer have an emotional charge to what happened. We've turned our pain into purpose. We've turned our pain into power, and now we can move forward. That is what I'm here to share. That's what I'm here to do in my own life. That's where I'm at. I'm moving forward. I'm not marinating in the pain. We're going to get beyond this and then do something on the other side of this that is very impactful, first and foremost in our own lives, in our own family, and then maybe even beyond that with others, with what we've learned. Because boy, have we not learned a lot of lessons in life. I mean, gosh, it's countless lessons I've learned on so many levels. But But man, I'm making progress. I'm making progress. Yes, yes. Oh my gosh. I mean, that's a sign right there. If I'm feeling a little bit of joy come in, I feel like that's definitely a sign that something was released, something happened, right? And it wasn't an overwhelming, as far as the feeling of what happened with this release, it wasn't overwhelming, but I did experience the Lord in that. I had an encounter is what I did. That's what happened. I know it. Something's going on a cellular level, and I could feel it. There's a lifting. There's a lifting. And I'm going to keep in that space of this is lifting. Lord, I receive my healing. By your stripes, I am healed. You are our deliverer. I believe your promises. And you said, whom the Son sets free is free indeed. And I'm set free. I thank you. And I take hold of my healing. And I decree and declare that I am healed. I'm making progress. This is lifting. It's turning into purpose and joy. Joy is being restored. That was shared in this session, and I'm feeling it now. I'm feeling it now. Glory, glory, glory. That is all I have to share with you today. More progress. I don't know what it is, but something on the other side of this is going to be my best years yet. That is what I have this strong sense. It's like a knowing. And it's happening right now, moment by moment. I'm so grateful. All right, have a great evening, and I'll see you soon. Bye.